Alright, Xcode 7 is out. Wait, that means all of my videos are now gonna be obsolete. Hey, what's going on, everybody? So those were my exact feelings when Xcode 7 came out. So I will be updating some of my obsolete tutorials, and if you notice any of my tutorials that are obsolete, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. It'd be very helpful. But anyway, this is one of the obsolete tutorials on how to populate a UI table view. First, I'm going to show you how to do it with strings, and then I'm going to show you how to do it with images. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is open up Xcode, create a new Xcode project, and this will be our table view. So just go over here to single view application, click next. And our product name, I'm just going to call this my table view product. And then language will be set to Swift, and our devices will be universal. Now go ahead, click next, and create. Now let's make this a bit bigger, and we're just going to head right into our main.storyboard. So go right in here and just delete the view controller. Now inside of this, we're just going to click and drag a table view controller onto our scene like so. We are going to go over here to the attributes inspector and say is initial view controller. So this will make it the first view controller that loads up. Now let's head over to our viewcontroller.swift, and right inside of here we have the class view controller, and we want to just change this to a UI table view controller. So if you wanted to do this on a separate file, that's how you would do it. You just create a class, you name the class right here, and then you say it's of the superclass of a UI table view controller. So actually I can change the name right here to table view controller. And now let's head over to our main.storyboard, click on this table view controller that we created, and then we're going to head right over here to our identity inspector, and the class of this, I'm just going to change this to table view controller. And now we can just head right over to our viewcontroller.swift, and right inside of this we can just change up a few variables. And what we need to do in here essentially is create some new functions that actually populate the table view. So the first function is going to be table view, and this will be cell for row at index path. So in this, we're actually creating the cell, and then we actually can populate the cell with things inside of it. But right now we don't have a number of cells, so let's go right down here and add our second function, which will be table view number of rows in section. Now what we want to do inside of the number of rows in section, we want to count some things. Now what exactly do we want to count? Well, in this first scenario, I want to populate my table view controller with some text. So I'm going to take an array of text. So let's go right up here, and I'm just going to say var text array will be equal to, and we're going to make this equal to open square bracket, close square bracket, and inside of this we're saying open quotation mark, close quotation mark, comma, and we're just going to have like 4 variables in there, 5 variables, and inside of this I'm just going to type some random text to get through this. And now we have our text array populated with arrays of strings. And now let's go ahead and apply this array of strings onto our table view cells. So right down here, we're going to go right down here to our table view number of rows in section. And inside of this, it's wanting us to return a value of an integer, as signified by this arrow and this integer. So we want to return a value. So just say return, and we're going to return our text array.count, like so. Now, as for populating our cell, we need to go up here to our cell for row at index path, and we're just going to say var cell will be equal to, and we're going to make this equal to our table view.dq reusable cell with identifier. Now, we don't have an identifier yet, so let's head right over to our main.storyboard, and right inside of this, we could just click right on the cell, head over to our attributes inspector, and inside of this, you will see that it has a reuse identifier. So we want to change this reuse identifier to be really anything you want, but I'm just going to put mine as capital C-E-L-L. It really doesn't matter. It's all on your own preference of how you want to identify a cell. Now let's go over to our viewcontroller.swift again, and we're saying var cell will be equal to table view dec reusable cell with identifier, and the identifier this time will be open quotation mark, close quotation mark, capital C-E-L-L. It is important to keep in mind what is capitalized and what is not. Now before we continue on, this cell really doesn't even know that it's going to be a UI table view cell yet, so we need to say as a UI table view cell, like so. And now we have this UI table view cell, and right after this we can just add an exclamation point. Now it's still wanting a return value, so let's go right down here, and we're just going to say return cell. Now essentially anything that we put right in between these is going to be added onto the cell. So to add text, it's really easy to just say cell.textlabel.text. We're going to make this equal to text array, and then open square bracket, close square bracket, and this will be our index path.row. Now the index path.row is up here inside of this function. It's going to say cell for row at index path, so it's creating our cells, and it's creating an index path as well. So that's where we're getting that index path.row. So now let's go ahead, build and run. And also, if you're getting this warning, I think warnings are just annoying. So right in here, we're going to say let cell equal this, and that will fix your warning that you're getting. Now let's go ahead, build and run. So now, as you can see, I populated my table view with DFFG and basically everything that's inside of this array, and it is populated in order according to where I placed it in the array. Alright, for our second scenario, I want to actually populate my table view with images. So in order for us to do this, I'm just going to quickly delete the text array. I'm going to go right down here and say cell.textLabel.text. I'm just going to delete all that. And also down here, it's not going to return the text array.count, so we're just deleting that. Now let's go ahead and we're going to create an image array. So we're going to say var image array will be equal to, and we're going to make this equal to an array of images, but our images have names. So it's really only going to be an array of strings. So we just need to say open square bracket, close square bracket, and inside of this we can do open quotation mark, close quotation mark, comma, and we'll have 5 images, let's say. So where are we grabbing these images from? Well, we grab images from the assets.xc assets. So in order for us to do this, let's just go right here, and I'm going to take these images that I have, and I'm just going to take 5 of these images and put them right inside of my assets.xc assets. Now let's go ahead, make this a bit bigger, and let's go right into our viewcontroller.swift. And now we can also open up our assistant editor, as this will make naming things a little bit easier to put inside of our image array. We're going to go manual, open up here, and we're just going to go to our assets.xc assets. Take the names. The names of your images and the names of my images are going to be absolutely different, so I'm just going to speed right through this. So now I have all the names of my images that are inside of my XC assets, and I have them plugged right into the image array. So let's go ahead and just close out of that. And now let's go ahead and add these images onto my cell. Now for our cell, let's head over to our main.storyboard, and right inside of here, I'm going to go right in here. And inside of here, I want to add a UI image view. So I'm gonna just make this a bit bigger, my cell a bit bigger, and that will edit all my cells. So I'm making this cell a bit bigger, and then I'm going to take a UI image view and just click and drag that onto my scene like so. I'm just going to make it fill the whole scene, but you can really make it as big as you want, and it'll populate the image view accordingly. So now we have this image view, and one thing that's really important that you need to do is go right over here to our attributes inspector, and we need to go over here to our tag. Now this tag is going to allow us to identify our UI image view from our cell for row at index path. That way we can keep reusing our image view. So the tag of this, I'm just going to make this 1. You can really use whatever you want. And that's pretty much it. We just need to head over to our viewcontroller.swift now, and right inside of our cell for row at index path, we need to say var image view will be equal to, and we're going to make this equal to our cell.view with tag. So we're grabbing that UI image view and we're grabbing it with the tag of 1. And then it doesn't really know what this is, so we're going to say this is as a UI image view, like so. And it wants an exclamation point right after this as. And again, this should be let image view, just like that. And now that is actually calling that image view that we put inside of our main.storyboard, and now we need to add the image. So we can say image view.image will be equal to, and we're going to make this equal to a UI image, open parentheses with the name of. As for what our image is named, we just need to go right into the string, and we just need to grab from our image array. So we can say image array, open bracket, close bracket, and inside of this we just say index path.row. So we're grabbing each of these images names and we're applying that to a UI image. And now lastly down here, it's wondering how many rows are going to be built onto my table view. So we want it to return the value of our image array.count. And now if we were to build and run this. Now one thing you'll notice is these are all populating and the images are looking really smushed. And another thing you can't tell is that they are off to the right a little bit. So let's head over to our main.storyboard, and in order to fix this, let's click on our image view, and we want to set some constraints. So we're going to right click or control click and drag from this image view over to our content view. We're going to say equal widths, equal heights, center vertically and center horizontally. You can of course do whatever constraints you need, but this is what I need. So I'm going to enter that, and now I have all my constraints set up for my image view. And then I also need to go over to my image view, and right inside of my attributes inspector, you need to go down here to the mode, and we're going to switch this over to aspect fill. Now if I were to build and run this, you will see that there's no more smushed images and that they are centered now. Now let's say I want to use a UI label on top of this UI image view. Now in order to do this, you just need to go ahead, click on a label, and just put that right in the center of our scene like so. I'm going to change the text color of this to just a nice red color. That way we can see it a little bit better. And then I'm going to right click or control click and drag from this label. I'm going to head over to my content view. I'm going to say center vertically and center horizontally like so. And now essentially I'm showing this off as if you don't want to just use the given text label that's on table view cells, then you can always add your own label. So that's what I'm doing right here. So let's head over to our viewcontroller.swift, and inside of here I'm going to create a new array for my text. So I'm going to say var text array will be equal to, and we're going to make this equal to an open square bracket, close square bracket, open quotation mark, close quotation mark, and we'll just have this 5 times. Again, just make sure it's the same amount of times as up here, or else you might get some errors. Then go ahead and add some text onto there, like so. And then we can head over to our table view, and now I could just say cell.textLabel.text, but again, that's not accessing that label that I just put. So in order for us to do this properly, we actually need to head back over to our main.storyboard, click on the label, and in here we're going to add a tag. So I'm going to add the tag just as 2, and then we're going to head over to our viewcontroller.swift. Down here I'm going to say var text label2 will be equal to, I'm going to make this equal to our cell.viewWithTag, and the tag will be 2 as a UI label, like so. Then we can go right down here. I'm going to say text label2.text will be equal to, and we're going to make this equal to our text array for the indexPath.row. So open square bracket, close square bracket, and just say indexPath.row. And also, if you're getting this warning up here, it just basically wants you to change this to let. So now change that to let, and now let's build and run. And now as you can see, I have my text label up here, down here, and they're all populating onto the scene properly. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this tutorial, be sure to hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more tutorials like this from me in the future, be sure to subscribe. If you want to help support this channel even further, you can head over to patreon.com/architap. But anyway, thank you all so much for everything, and I will see you in the next one.